Have you ever felt like you're fighting alone while the world keeps moving and you're stuck in place? Have you ever woken up with no strength, unable to even get out of bed, wondering if it's even worth continuing? You try to smile on the outside, but inside your soul is screaming for help. If you feel like this message is for you. It's no accident that you press play on this video. God wanted to speak to you, and He will. Have you ever wondered why pain always seems to find you when you're least able to face it? Have you ever felt completely alone, even surrounded by people, like no one truly sees what's happening inside of you? As if the world keeps moving, but you're trapped in a dark place, quietly crying out for help. There are people feeling just like that right now. They fall asleep crying and wake up with a heavy heart, smiling for others but bleeding inside. And maybe you're one of them. But there's a truth the world doesn't often speak about. It's when everything feels broken that God draws closest to you. Psalm 34 verse 18 makes it clear, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted." That means your pain doesn't push God away. On the contrary, it draws Him in. While the world rejects the broken, God embraces them. While the world tells you to hide your weaknesses, God wants you to expose them before Him. He didn't come to find the strong. He came to restore those who've lost their strength. Many think they need to be okay to pray, that they need to be spiritually clean to approach God. But that's a lie that keeps you in chains. God never asked for perfection. He asked for truth. He wants your pain with no filters, your weariness with no mask. Remember Hannah, the mother of Samuel? She came to the temple completely broken. She cried so much that the priest thought she was drunk. But in that sincere cry, God saw faith, and He answered her prayer. Because God understands tears. He translates what no one else understands. And today, how many people live with a heavy heart but can't talk to anyone? How many were taught to suppress their emotions, to be silent so they don't bother anyone, to be strong all the time? Maybe you've heard since you were little that men don't cry or that showing weakness is a sign of failure. Maybe you grew up hearing that you have to handle everything yourself. But deep down, you're exhausted. Deep down, you're just trying to survive while smiling so you don't worry those you love. How many nights have you laid awake, replaying mistakes and regrets, thinking about everything you should have done differently? How many times have you begged God for a sign? Have you locked yourself in the bathroom to cry in silence? Have you silently screamed, "God, where are you?" The truth is, He was always there. You just couldn't see Him because of the pain, but He was there, and He is here now. He knows you better than you know yourself. He saw every tear, heard every thought, witnessed every silent breakdown no one else heard. Do you know why you're still here after everything you've been through? Because even when you wanted to give up, God didn't give up on you. Even when you felt forgotten, He was holding you from within. Maybe you didn't realize it, but He was the strength that made you get up that morning when you thought you couldn't. It was Him who kept you breathing when you wanted to disappear. It was Him who sent someone to message you just when you needed it the most. And it's Him who led you to watch this video right now. And here's something that needs to be said clearly, truthfully, and with love. You don't need to be okay to be loved. You don't need to be whole to be accepted. God loves you in the middle of your chaos. He values you even when you think you have no value. The world teaches you that you are only worthy if you are strong, productive, and efficient. But God says you are worthy because you are His child, created with purpose. And even when you are hurt, you are still loved. Do you remember Mary Magdalene? Rejected by everyone, considered impure and cast out by society, but she found in Jesus something no one else gave her: acceptance. She wasn't judged, she was loved. And do you know what's even more beautiful? When Jesus rose from the dead, she was the first person to see Him. Not Peter, not John, but her, a woman despised by the world, but honored by God. This shows that it doesn't matter what others say about you. What matters is what God sees in you. So if all you can do today is cry, then cry. If all you can say today is, "God help me," then say it. Heaven doesn't require eloquent speeches. God answers simple prayers spoken with a whole heart. And if you feel like you have no strength left, that's okay, because where your strength ends, that's where His begins. That's where He carries you, lifts you up, and turns your tears into dancing. God doesn't want you to hide. He wants you to come, even with your fears, doubts, and flaws. He doesn't expect perfection. He expects honesty. He will never reject a broken heart. The world may have ignored you, but God still calls you by name, and He never gets the address wrong. He knew you would see this message today. He knew you were at your limit. That's why He's sending you this message. You are still loved. You are still chosen. You are still cared for. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and listen with your soul. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Have you ever felt like your life is on pause while everything around you keeps moving forward? As if everyone is advancing, accomplishing, living, while you're stuck in the same place, waiting for something that seems like it will never come? Have you wondered how many more prayers you need to make before you receive an answer? Have you thought about giving up because you've started to believe that God has forgotten you? Sometimes the waiting hurts more than the battle itself, because waiting involves the unknown, silence, time. But what few understand is that the waiting time is not a punishment. It's a preparation. In the silence, God is building what your eyes cannot yet see. Do you know the story of Joseph? That young man who dreamed of greatness but was betrayed by his brothers, sold as a slave, wrongly imprisoned, and forgotten for years. To human eyes, it seemed like everything was going wrong, but God was preparing him. 13 years later, that same young man became the governor of Egypt, the greatest empire of that time. This is where you learn to walk by faith, not by sight. And this is what changes not just your circumstances, but your character. Look around. We live in an instant gratification generation. Everything needs to happen right now. Social media only shows wins, smiles, and successes. No one shows the process. No one shows the sleepless nights crying, the days of discouragement, the rejections that hurt. And this makes you feel like your life is behind, like you're the only one who hasn't made it. But that is not true. Many of those who shine today spent years hidden. Public success is almost always the result of a silent process. It is in the hidden place that God shapes the greats. Think about David, anointed king as a child, but he didn't go straight to the throne. He went back to the field to tend sheep. Years later, he faced Goliath. It took even more time for him to finally take the throne. Why? Because God was training him in the little things. The crown is heavy. Only those who are shaped in the secret place can carry it in the public eye. The same goes for you. Your time is not late. You are being shaped. God has not forgotten you. He is aligning everything so that when it happens, it will last. It will not just be a blessing, but a legacy. Now take a deep breath and listen closely. Maybe God is teaching you to depend on Him and not on circumstances. Maybe He's teaching you to trust Him even when everything seems to say otherwise. Because true faith is born in the waiting. It's easy to believe when everything is going well, but trusting when everything is silent, that's mature faith. That's relationship with God. And it's at this point that your story changes. Have you heard of actress Viola Davis? She grew up in extreme poverty, hunger, violence, and discrimination. For many years she was overlooked, left out of important roles, but she waited, worked, endured. And today, she is one of the most awarded actresses in history. And the most beautiful thing is that she uses her voice to inspire people who come from the same place she came from. Her painful process became her purpose, and the same can happen to you. That's why here's a challenge. For the next 7 days, take 5 minutes before bed to pray. But this time, don't ask for anything, just thank. Thank as if you've already received. Thank for healing, for the job, for the answer, even if it hasn't come yet. Because gratitude opens doors that anxiety shuts. When you begin to thank for something you don't have yet, you are telling heaven, I trust. And God honors those who trust. So no matter how hard it is, don't curse the waiting time. Don't say you've been forgotten. Don't declare that God has abandoned you. He is working in the invisible. He is aligning people, adjusting hearts, opening doors you haven't seen yet. And when the right time comes, not your time, but His, everything will make sense. And you will look back and say, "Now I understand. It was worth the wait." There are moments in life when the pain seems to not just knock at the door, but invade everything. It enters, fills the space, and even the air you breathe feels heavy. And you ask, "Why me? Why is this happening to me?" You try to understand, try to rationalize, but you can't find an answer. And while you try to survive, the world demands that you keep producing, smiling, and moving forward. But inside of you, everything screams. Your soul bleeds, your heart cries, and it feels like no one is listening. But God hears, and more than that, He turns pain into purpose. Have you ever heard that hitting rock bottom is the perfect place to start over? Because when everything collapses, when all the crutches are taken away, only one thing remains: the rock. And that rock is Christ. It was exactly in this place of pain that many men and women in the Bible discovered who they truly were. David, for example, was rejected even by his own father. When Samuel went to anoint the new king of Israel, Jesse didn't even call David. But God saw him, and He sees you too, right where you are now. He was the forgotten one, the invisible one. But it wasn't in the palace, it was in the field, fighting lions and bears, where David was prepared. It wasn't in the palace, but in the solitude, in the daily struggles, in the moments when no one saw. And maybe today you feel the same way, forgotten, invisible, as if nothing you do is ever enough. Maybe you take care of everyone, but no one takes care of you. Maybe you have dreams tucked away, projects interrupted, plans that seemed certain but turned to dust, and your heart is tired. But the truth is, the greatest purposes are born right there, in the place of pain, in the midst of tears, in the silence. Look at the story of Nik Vujicic, born without arms and legs. As a child, he suffered bullying. He grew up questioning his value, his purpose, his place in the world. He even tried to take his own life, but in a moment of meeting with God, he understood that his pain wasn't the end. It was the beginning of something greater. Today, he travels the world, speaking about faith, overcoming, and hope. He could have locked himself in a room and given up, but he chose to turn his pain into a voice. His weakness became a ministry. His physical limitation became the stage for God's power. And you, what has been your pain? What is the area of your life where it hurts the most and no one sees? Maybe it's a recent loss. Maybe it's a broken marriage. Maybe it's a hidden addiction. Or maybe it's something no one knows, but it consumes you from the inside every day. Whatever it is, and God knows. And He does not waste pain. Every tear you've shed has been collected by Him. Every sleepless night has been watched by heaven. You may feel abandoned, but heaven has been there all along. The woman with the issue of blood bled for 12 years. 12 years of shame, rejection, physical and emotional pain. But she didn't give up. In the middle of the crowd, even though she was considered unclean, even though she was weak, she crawled to Jesus and touched Him. Just one touch, but it changed everything. Because God's power is manifested when pain meets faith. And that same faith can be born right now, inside of you. Even if it's small, even if it's tired, it's still enough to touch Jesus. Maybe you're in a season where you feel like there's no purpose anymore, that pain has taken over too much, that you've failed so much there's no way back. But listen closely. The broken pieces of your life are not the end. They are the material God uses to create something new. He doesn't just rebuild, He transforms. And transforms so deeply you won't even recognize who you were before. What is tears today will be testimony tomorrow. Think of the people who inspire you the most. Most of the time, they're people who've been through deep pain. Because only those who bleed understand the pain of others. Only those who have fallen know how to lift someone else. That's why your suffering won't be in vain. It will become a bridge, a tool, a living message. You won't just survive this, you will help others get through it as well. And that is purpose. So breathe, feel the air coming in, feel your heart still beating. That's proof that God still has plans. He's still writing pages in your story. He'll use you, with scars, with marks, but healed, redeemed, and full of compassion. Because those who suffered and were healed carry power in their words. And you carry that power, even if you don't know it yet. Even if you're still in the process, don't run from the pain. Bring it to God. Tell him exactly how you feel. He already knows. But when you speak, you invite God to intervene. And when God enters, everything changes. Your pain today could be exactly what takes you to your destiny. What you call a weight today, tomorrow will be the foundation of your calling. So don't give up, because it's in pain that the greatest purposes are born. And you were created with one. Are you still alive? Are you still breathing? Then God hasn't finished with you. The very fact you're listening to these words right now proves that God's plans for you are still unfolding, because if your story was truly finished, you wouldn't even be here. You're still breathing because there's something left for you to experience, something uniquely yours to accomplish, something only you can fulfill. It's hard to accept when your soul feels weary, when your strength is drained, and when your future seems like a broken road ahead. Yet it's precisely in these moments you must remind yourself, as long as there's life, there is purpose, and where purpose exists, hope thrives. Some days, even getting out of bed feels like an immense battle. Your heart races with anxiety, overwhelmed by fear, and you're just barely holding on. You wear a brave face, pretending everything's fine, trying to appear strong, but inside you're quietly falling apart. Maybe nobody notices. Perhaps even those closest to you have no idea of the silent war raging inside your heart. You look around and feel like everyone else is moving forward, smiling, thriving, while deep inside, you feel yourself slowly sinking. That's when the most dangerous thought whispers softly, maybe it's easier to just give up. But what if tomorrow is the day everything finally shifts? What if you're just one step away from the miracle you've been desperately waiting for? What if today's struggle turns out to be tomorrow's breakthrough? You see, the enemy knows exactly what you carry. He doesn't attack what's worthless. He battles against you because he's aware of the impact you'll have once you rise again. Maybe outwardly you're standing, but inwardly you surrendered a long time ago. But hear this clearly. God isn't looking for perfect people. He's searching for those who refuse to quit. Remember the woman who bled for 12 long years? 12 years of pain, isolation, and rejection, having spent everything she had, only growing worse. Yet she had faith strong enough to believe that just touching the edge of Jesus' robe could transform everything. And it did. What no one else could accomplish in 12 years, Jesus did instantly. All because she decided not to give up, because she dared to believe even when weak. You are stronger than you think, and more loved than you can imagine. You've survived things that could have destroyed you. You've faced storms that few even know about. You've held back tears in silence that no one heard. You've kept going when everything inside you screamed to stop. And do you know why? Because inside of you there is something the world cannot erase, the flame of hope. It might be almost extinguished, but it's still alive. And as long as it's alive, so can you. Don't give up now. Don't throw in the towel in the last round. You are not a failure. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle in progress. And the author of your story is still writing. He writes with tears, but also with resurrection, with pain, but also with glory, with falls, but also with new beginnings. And when everything seems like the end, maybe it's just the beginning of the most beautiful chapter of your life. So hold on just a little longer, because it's not over yet. God is still working, and you are still here, and that's all he needs to keep going. Now, I want you to stop for a moment and take a deep breath. Breathe deeply. Close your eyes if you can. Feel the air coming in. Feel your heart beating. What you are feeling right now is life. And as long as there is life, there is hope. You've been through so much. I know. And even though no one saw how many times you cried in silence, God saw it. Even though no one understands your sleepless nights, the emptiness that sometimes screams inside your chest, the doubts that invade your mind, God understands. He saw when you said, "I'm fine," just so you wouldn't worry anyone. He was there when you wanted to disappear and no one noticed. He was there when you thought of giving up, but you still got up and faced the day. He saw it all, and now He wants you to know you didn't go through all of this in vain. Nothing was in vain. Not the pain, not the loss, not the waiting. Everything will be used. Everything will be redeemed. And when this hard time passes, because it will pass, you'll look back with tears in your eyes, but with a smile on your face. Because you will understand that even though you couldn't see, even though you couldn't understand, even though you almost gave up, God was writing. He was writing a story that will heal others, that will lift others, that will inspire others, because your pain will turn into testimony, your tears will turn into strength. And what you thought was the end was just the beginning. So don't be ashamed of your scars. They are proof that you fought, proof that you survived, proof that you are still here. And if you are still here, it's because heaven still has a plan. It's because there's still something inside of you that the world needs to see. And if you feel like this message was made for you, it was. Because God knew that out of millions of videos, you'd stop here. And He just wanted to remind you that you are loved, that you are chosen, that you still have value. So if you're going to fall, let it be on your knees. If you're going to cry, let it be in God's arms. But please, don't give up, because the world is still going to hear your story, and it will be moved, just like you are being moved right now, because you are not the end. You are the beginning of something new, and God is still writing.